Hi, Scott Watson here. Even with the best will in the world, some recruitment decisions should never have been made. This is a case in point. I do have permission to share this information without the person's name included. The EQI 2.0 is used to support coaching for an individual who was 35 years in their niche, had written multiple books, some of which have been bestsellers worldwide, was in high demand for conference speaking at conferences around the world because of their expertise, knowledge and skill in a specific niche. This person loved to work on their own, always preferred to work on their own, had never led a team in terms of day-to-day responsibilities, and indeed didn't want to lead a team. Their organisation decided, for a number of reasons, one of which was to reward this individual, another one may have been to retain this individual because of his expertise, knowledge and skill and the credibility it brought the organisation. They decided that it would be a good thing to do to promote this person to people leadership at a director level. This person didn't want the director level. They were happy as they were, doing what they were doing. They did not want, and they wanted to steer clear of managing, leading people. People brought ambiguity, and ambiguity creates problems, was their thinking. But he was convinced that accepting the role would be the right thing for him and also the right thing for the organisation. Little did the organisation realise that it would fall flat on its face. Why? Not because it was a bad person, not because they were being obstructive or awkward, but because it was so different to the world that he preferred to operate in. Let's take a look at the EQI 2.0 report here. We're just going to look at a couple of subscales. Now, this is taken just 16 weeks into this person's role as a leader. Complaints have started being submitted because this person was seen as awkward, toxic, obstructive, so focused on technicalities that they forgot about the people aspects. Well, this person would forget about the people aspects because that's not where they wanted to be, they've never been, and they had no intention of being until they accepted this role. There's no blame either way here. It's about responsibility for fixing something that is considered a problem. So if we look here in the interpersonal realm, the interpersonal relationship score is just 52. This is in the low range of the EQI 2.0 assessment. Interpersonal relationships, he doesn't value them because he's never invested in them. He's not developed nourishing, mutually beneficial, high trust relationships because this person works on their own. Their best ideas come from when they're working in isolation, independently, away from people. So, no great investment in relationships. But also look at this person's emotional self-awareness at just 74. This again is low range. So this person isn't so much aware of how their mood is developing, how their mood is changing, how their focus is going to what's going to go wrong. How can I stop things going wrong? I don't want to mess up. I don't want to let anybody down, rather than a focus on how can I get things right? How can I help people out? How can I contribute to this team? This also partnered with a balanced level of social responsibility, contributing to a community, a group, a team. But doing that, it's all out of balance. This person wanted to contribute to a team, but not by being an active part of that team, as in a leader. Alongside this, what we find is stress tolerance, optimism were really low. Self-regard here is in the low range. He doesn't think highly of himself. He hasn't got that inner confidence in terms of leading people, having relationships with people. He does possess it in terms of expertise, knowledge and skill. That's within him. But the rest of it is outside of him. But self-actualization, this is a person that's dedicated nearly 4 decades of their adult life to being an innovator, helping, supporting, creating solutions to really challenging problems in a specific niche. This is just one example of how performance management, even at the most senior level, sometimes doesn't deliver value because it misses the whole point. People aren't aware of how emotional intelligence is out of balance how balanced emotional intelligence can bring candid dialogue, candid conversations, and shared understanding as to why I don't want this director role. I don't want the accolades that come with it. I don't want the pay rise. I just want to keep doing what I'm passionate about and that I've done for nearly 4 decades. Sometimes performance management is more about telling people they need to change, they need to book their ideas up, or how can we move this forward, which is really well intended but so poorly executed on so many occasions. If people aren't aware of their current choices, as in the EQ aspects, they have no opportunity to think differently and choose to think differently about a situation rather than be told to think differently, told to do differently, because the brain doesn't respond well to commands, demands, and instructions. It wants an invitation or a request and a healthy dialogue. Without this level of detail, and this discussion only took 2 hours before that person started to own their awareness of this, started to own the choices they were about to make. This person decided to resign from their position, remain within the organisation, and continue to do what they were passionate about doing. And then things changed. Sometimes resigning from a position is not a weakness, it's a strength, it's an inner strength. And then the results begin to change. Why? Because this person was so clear on what they didn't want that it really messed up their thinking. It really limited their opportunity to think clearly about situations and deliver the value that they were so passionate about delivering. So, in terms of performance management, before you start telling people to change or asking what can we do about it, perhaps invite them to consider how their current thinking is benefiting them, how their current thinking might be actually limiting them, but also creating shared understanding of what he or she can do and is open to doing differently, and also for the manager as well, because much like success, failure in organisations, in teams, is rarely achieved alone. I'd welcome your thoughts on performance management and feedback. Please do share.